How's it? I have a dream that maybe some of you share. If you share this dream, make some noise. Oh, you already know. You already know what the dream is, huh? I have a dream that Jews will be able to walk in the street anywhere in the world without being fear. Without fear. You share that dream, huh? I have a dream that Jews will be able to pray in their synagogues without fear that terrorists will come and kill them. Do you share that dream? I have a dream that Jews will be able to dance at parties without the fear that terrorists will come and murder them. My name is Ariella Zeitlin. I was born in an ultra-Orthodox community in the United States of America. 3 times a day we prayed to return to Jerusalem, and I never realized that it was a real place. So when I was 16, I went to my rabbi and I said, I just heard that Jerusalem is a real place. And he said, oh, that's not the rebuilt Jerusalem we're talking about. And I said, I think it is. So when I was 17, without knowing any Hebrew, without any money, I moved all the way to Israel all by myself. I think I get a round of applause for that one. Thank you. The summer that I moved to Israel was the summer of what we call the Nituk, the Girush, the expulsion of Jews from Gush Katif. I watched Jews pulled from their homes in exchange for the hope of peace with terrorists. And although it's crazy, we're still holding on. We're still holding on to that hope that one day they will learn from us. We have to continue to hold that peace in our hearts. I always dreamed about playing the violin, and today I travel the world playing the violin and teaching what it means to have faith in God. Because what I believe is that with God's help, every trauma can be turned into a superpower, and nothing is too big for our great God. Since October 7th, I started working with trauma victims, with soldiers, with Nova survivors, with sexual abuse survivors, and helping them to craft their stories so that they could speak to audiences, how they could take the pain of what they had been through and turn it into a story that turned them into the hero of their own story. And on February 28th this year, which was Rosh Chodesh Adar, I get a phone call. Hi, are you available to work with Agam Berger, who was just recently released from Gaza, on her return to the violin and to the stage and to telling her story? And in Megillat Esther, which is the Megillah, the thing that we read in that month, there's this one word that came into my mind. And who knows if for this moment you were created? My faith, my passion for Israel, my violin, my music, my work with survivors, and now Agam. And I've worked with a lot of survivors. And I usually go in and I'm very soft. We start very quiet. And immediately I walked into the room and I knew that this was something different. This woman met me with fire, with ferocity. I said, whoa, are you sure you don't want to be the prime minister? She told me, she said, how dare you speak to your children in English? And I said, whoa, okay. So we started speaking in Hebrew in my house, even though my husband speaks maybe 4 words of Hebrew. But we kind of push him, and he's doing better. And I want to tell you a little bit about Agam. So Agam comes from what we call a traditional family, probably not unlike many of your families. They have Shabbat dinner, they have bar bat mitzvah, they have a lot of faith in God, but they wouldn't call themselves religious, this quote unquote, this word. But a lot of faith, a lot of God. And when Agam was 8 years old, a boy came to her class and he brought a violin for show and tell. He let her try it. Very nice of him, an 8-year-old boy, guys, come on, yeah? Round of applause for that 8-year-old boy. And from then on, she started lessons, and she started playing in school ceremonies, but she never imagined that it would shape her destiny the way that it has. When Agam entered the army, she was what we call a tatzpitanit, a lookout soldier on the border of Gaza. And on October 7th, terrorists stormed her base and dragged her and many of her friends across the border into Gaza, where she was beaten and starved and hidden in homes. Now, most of us, if we're faced with a situation like that, when we're faced with that level of darkness, we fall. We don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. I don't know. But Agam had something that we could all use a little bit more of. She had faith in God. And faith helps us tell a different story. Faith helps us see that the darkness is just temporary, that the darkness is just the way that we expand our vessels, the way that we create more light one day in the world. And so Agam held on to her faith in a way that we all should hold on to our faith. She asked for a siddur from the terrorists, and they found one, and they brought it to her. She kept Shabbat, she kept kosher. And she taught her friends what it means to hold on to God. And she even debated with her captors. She said, well, empires rise and fall by conquest. Judaism was born at Sinai, witnessed by an entire nation, and still lives on today. Back at home, her parents, Meirav and Shlomi, did everything in their power to bring her home. They spoke to every Chaver Knesset, every politician. They organized, they rallied. And they also encouraged their friends everywhere around them to hold on to believing that only God can save us from this situation. Only God's strong hand, Bezroa Netuya, can take them out. And so they encouraged people, and thousands of people heeded the call. Thousands of people started keeping Shabbat in honor of Agam's return, started lighting Shabbat candles, started going to the mikvah. And then, miraculously, after 482 days, she came home. On the helicopter, she held a sign that said, B'derech emunah bacharti, I chose the way of faith. Now I want to remind you that her courage doesn't belong only to her, it belongs to all of us. Every day we have to choose. Are we going to choose fear, or are we going to choose faith? What do you say? Are we going to choose courage, despair, or are we going to choose hope? Are we going to choose silence, or are we going to choose song? From Esther in Persia to the Jews of exile to Agam in Gaza, the story of the Jewish people, you've heard from basically everyone who stood here tonight, has been about bringing light in the darkness. And we together, we create miracles. We bring the light. We can do anything when we hold on to faith and we hold on to hope. And Agam is living proof that God can do anything. And just, Agam plays on a violin that survived the Holocaust. This is not new for us, but it's a reminder because we've had a pretty good life in our generation. So I want to remind all of us to hold on to faith, to keep believing that the great God of Israel does great things for his great nation, and that we have a responsibility to spread the goodness, the wisdom, the consciousness, and the light of God in this world. And I see that South Africa, you are all doing it. Every person that I've met. The light that is coming out of Johannesburg it's burning. It's burning. And with that light, I'd like to have you continue to clap as we invite Agam Berger to the stage.